time you open one intact, be grateful this didn't happen to it. This was a computer monitor tossed over a gate in Southern California by a...
I didn't know how to really segue into this, but I found a good way. Yeah, I don't know what FedEx is up to, and I don't care. I'm looking at this article because this has been something that's been going on. I first saw it on Breaking Points. Sagar brought it up, or Crystal did, about hey, there's no air conditioning in those trucks. I think Sagar did. There's no air conditioning in those trucks. And not only am I looking at it because this is a recent event, but also it has been 1 year, uh, almost a whole year since I quit Universal Studios. So I do want to look at this. I do want to talk about it. I wanted to talk about it for days, but I had other things. My cousin had passed away. We had to do the funeral services. So, life or death gets in the way, however you want to say it. So you won't be able to read this from where I'm sitting or from where you're watching it. So let's go ahead and um, I'll read this for you. How the U.S. Postal Service changes as of today. What happens if UPS goes on strike? I'll give my thoughts. Okay, here's a parcel service driver not throwing any packages or anything like that. And here we go. Major pricing changes for the U.S. Postal Service goes into effect today, July 9th. That would be today. Not the least of which is the second increase to the price of Forever stamps so far in 2023. Other changes to pricing and package shipping also go into effect. Any previously purchased Forever stamps are still good to use. Meantime, as a potential UPS workers' strike becomes increasingly likely, you might be wondering what would happen to your packages as well as how a strike might affect businesses and the economy. A strike would slow the movement of goods, which means consumers could expect package delays, higher shipping costs, and potentially higher prices for goods. Businesses may not get hit quite as hard unless they rely on UPS, as many small businesses do. These supply chain disruptions wouldn't really be the same as the ones seen over the past few years during the height of the pandemic. The sooner UPS workers get a contract, the sooner packages would get moving again. How did we get so close to a UPS strike? Negotiations between the UPS and the Teamsters Union, which represents UPS workers, fell apart this week. A strike could come as early as August the 1st, right around the union's contract expiring July 31st, according to the Teamsters. If that happens, the strike would be one of the largest in U.S. history and would likely throw the U.S. delivery system into disarray. Ooh. I mean, I'm sending for a package, hopefully for this week. So hopefully I get my stuff. That's a whole other matter. About 340,000 UPS workers are bargaining for higher pay, the elimination of a two-tier wage system, and more full-time jobs. Their demands also include improved safety and health-related working conditions, as well as stronger protection against managerial harassment. According to a Teamsters news release, on June 16th, 97% of the Teamsters voted to authorize a strike. It's not the first time that this has happened. In 97, about 185,000 UPS workers went on strike for 15 days, according to reporting at the time. The impact of that strike snarled delivery services and overwhelmed FedEx and USPS services. Maybe that's why they gave the finger. But workers want increased starting pay, more benefits, and thousands of additional full-time positions. The current contract that's set to sunset was originally ratified in October 2018 by the Teamsters. At the time, less than half of all the union members voted on the contract. Among those who did vote, a majority rejected the contract, but the contract was adopted anyway because of a technicality. That means you're just holding off. You're just staving off the problem. Holding it back. After the breakdown of negotiations on Wednesday, UPS said in a news release that it was proud of what it had put forward in negotiations and called on the Teamsters to return to the table. The company said that refusing to negotiate, especially with the finish line in sight, it creates significant unease among employees and customers and threatens to disrupt the U.S. economy. Only our non-union competitors benefit from the Teamsters' actions. UPS is second only to the USPS in market share, holds about 24% of the shipping market, according to Pitney Bowes Parcel Shipping Index, which tracks shipping carriers. Amazon is close behind UPS at 22% of the shipping market. A new strike could cause even more widespread disruptions at the Bureau of Labor Statistics data. Let me kind of fast forward here. Since the previous strike, 2 decades, UPS had more than 6.2 billion packages globally in the year. So last year they handled 6.2 billion packages. According to the company, that's 24 million packages on average per day. So what happens to your packages when the strike happens? Can expect delays, lengthy ones, and that goes for item returns as well. You could arrange to have your packages shipped by the USPS, FedEx, or another carrier, but they're likely to be overwhelmed with spillover from the UPS work stoppage. FedEx says its priority is to protect its existing customers and is advising shippers who are considering moving their business to FedEx to do so now, according to a release on Thursday. With the exponential rise in commerce over the past decade, so that a lot of problems with getting your stuff on time. How could a strike affect the business and the economy? But the online retail giant still relies on delivery service. So they have their own stuff. So, I mean, they have their own damn trucks. I think they had to rely on UPS before. And now Amazon has their own Amazon Prime drivers. As of June 24, drivers represented by the Teamsters Union and one of Amazon's delivery service partners, battle-tested strategies in California, went on strike. So a lot of different sections went on strike. Slower deliveries could lead to higher prices, just as inflation has been declining. That's because a disruption in the supply chain would mean fewer available goods for purchases and more expensive shipping, both factors that could drive up the prices for goods. And that's the end of this one. All right. So basically they have until August, until the end of July to get their shit together on UPS on corporate side. And the Teamsters, the people on strike, they have to agree to whatever new terms are settled before then. Now, hold on. I have to clear my nose. Little things that humans do. I was part of a union. I think when I did Universal Studios, I was part of a union. I think it was like $20 for the initiation fee, or I think it was every year. I think it's every year, $20. And you get in there, you're part of a union, IATSC, workers union, I think it's called. It's a union that basically protects your rights. And there was a woman in charge right now, as I'm talking to you. It's only been a couple of years since I was working there. I worked in 2021. I worked in technically September to October of 2021, and I stopped in July of 2022. So I worked there for a while, just long enough to know how things work. And the reason I had quit was because the work got to be too much where people were not taking care of each other. Truck drivers were getting in the way of the work. Other employees, who some of them might have had some mental disorders, were not taking care of the work. And I would have to pick up their load. And it was a disaster. I became too reliable. They kept pushing harder and harder. It's kind of like, when you have people whose job it is to take care of you, right? They give you free room and board. But then every now and then they'll take away your toys. Then they'll take away your clothes. Then they'll take away your food. They take away your water. They turn down the air. They try to take your rights away and your movements to see how long you can last. So for my case, I was doing back of the house work at Universal Studios, and it got to be too much to where I could not even do my job, and I got sick and I quit. And my supervisor was a piece of shit, and he still is. He can go fuck his mother's ass. Go fuck your dead relatives. I don't give a shit. If you can't, what's happening now, they don't mention that, but what was happening was the fact that a lot of truck drivers, besides the money, I don't care about the money if I was a UPS driver. But what I care about being in good health. And I care about those air conditioners. And I care about taking good care of those packages and taking good care of your health. When I was ordering medication, I have hemophilia severe type A. I used to get packages to the house. I don't anymore because the times that they would come would be too early, or when I was taking a shower, it would be too late for me. So that happened. And so I would not get my packages on time. Sometimes I would have to wait forever. Sometimes it would happen early in the day, or it would be too late. And I said, I don't want it to be too late. It has to be at my convenience. So it hasn't really gotten to that point. You get better scheduling times at your convenience for the DMV than you would for the UPS. But dare I say that the services was good. They are good. I mean, you get your stuff on time. Now I redirect it to my private postal service where they go. I go. It's not government built, but it is a private center where you have DHL, you'd have UPS, you have Amazon, USPS, whatever XYZ, whoever comes, and they can pick up packages and deliver packages. That's what they do. If they don't settle things, you're not going to see the UPS drivers over there at my postal place. It's not going to happen. Uh, and I find that irritating. If they have not fixed the air conditioning problem and other things, I don't care if now if it's an ego thing and they want to make more money than Amazon and FedEx, I say fuck that. Okay, let's just make enough money that is in proportion to what we would make under lesser wages, under lesser minimum wages, right? If the scale is right, if the scale is correct, and we're making the money that we would make in proportion to. So if the prices are adjusted for inflation, okay, if we're adjusted for inflation in 2023, and we're getting the right wages. Now, I was thinking of Vanna White. Vanna White never got a raise in the 18 years. It's bizarre. And you give out raises every now and then. That's all that matters. What I care about is getting workers taken care of, having that air conditioning, having good food, having enough water, having enough supplies. If a truck driver forgets to bring water, you supply them water, you supply them food, you keep taking care of those workers. If that doesn't happen at UPS or Amazon or DHL, Amazon's got to have their own problems. The people making the boxes didn't even get well taken care of at the time. Okay? What's his face? Lex Luthor. What's this guy? What's that guy? What do I call him? I call him a pinhead. What do I call him? Cue ball? What do I call him? What's that guy's name? Not Mark Zuckerberg. What's his name? That guy. The guy in charge of who was in charge of Amazon, who is in charge. That guy. That guy's a piece of shit. You treat workers like they're numbers, and they're not. They're people. Okay? Just because you don't go to their neighborhoods or you don't live in their neighborhood doesn't mean that these people aren't struggling to find a better life. Some of them made their bed. They had wives and kids. Maybe they had coke addictions. Who knows? They're trying to having the job it's all that matters to them is that they have a job and they're well taken care of. If they come in on time and putting in their damn 8 to 10 to 12, they should get taken care of. Jeff Bozo, that's his name. And people are putting in their damn time. I remember working in jobs where you had to pull pallet jacks and you get your arms all bruised and purple and shit. I worked there one day. I quit because I couldn't work more than a day there. You had to pull 300 pounds of stuff on a pallet jack. Okay, you got people throwing packages at FedEx because they're tired of their job. Maybe they're chicken shit to find a way to strike. Okay, people peeing in bottles. It's ridiculous. I remember the Lay's potato chip factory. This one white dude said, this guy went to sleep for his 10-minute break, never woke up. He never woke up for his break. They were putting people to work. That's when I heard about the UPS air conditioning problem, was the Lay's potato chip strike that they were having. People wanted days off. They were working 14-hour shifts and they had no time for break. This was shit. What the fuck was going on with that? You have to take care of each other. You have to take care of the workers. I thought to myself, when I was working at Universal Studios, if I don't whip it out, if I don't moon people, if I don't sexually harass anyone, if I don't make any jokes or be the talk of the town, I should be able to keep my job for a year or two. Even when you do right, even when you report code reds, blood, or vomit, or there's a child lost, or whatever, and you're doing your bit, like that's all that needs to happen. And you're a good worker, and maybe you'll get out of that blue collar work. I applied for tour guide. I applied for Harry Potter, like a ride caretaker, the guy who handles the rides. I applied for a white collar job around Universal City Walk. Didn't get any of those. Didn't get neither one of those. I was only good for being an oxen. And the problem with my supervisor was that he thought he was all bad. He was, cupping his balls and probably like cupping his, you know, with his dick in his hand, his balls in his hand, and thinking he could tell me what to do or tell me that he didn't like my name and to go to HR or to find some reason to hate me. And he did, because he didn't like me telling him, hey, why am I going to work so late on Halloween Horror Nights, but I have to come back at 9 in the morning? That doesn't work. It was going against union rules and work rules, and this inbred piece of shit knew that. He fucking knew that. And he didn't give a fuck. Just like the people at UPS don't give a fuck. So he took it personally that I criticized his stop these things. He criticized my ability to make an assessment. You're going to kill your fucking workers if you don't stop your bullshit. You're going to kill them. So, you know, I didn't go back to work at 9. They rearranged the schedule. It was unbearable. This guy really saw his employees as Negro, wetback, bracero workers working the plantation. Just get to work, you know. Hurry up. You know, you're not working fast enough. I gotta make sure I look good on that piece of paper, so the president of Universal says, good job. You know, come on, UPS workers, stop complaining about the damn air conditioning. Let's go. Whoever's in charge of UPS, he's gonna give me a gold pen, and he's gonna give me his mistress, and he's gonna give me a nice office corner. I gotta get that corner office that overlooks the city. Let's go. Hurry up. We have to take care of each other. That's it. Help your workers. If they're asking for too much, let's bring them down a bit. But make sure those air conditioners are in those trucks. Make sure there's enough water bottles. Make sure there's enough like beef jerky or trail mix for vegans or whoever. Just let's get that done. Yeah? Fuck that. Fuck all that bullshit. If you like this video, you know what to do. Keep on trucking. Keep on fucking. Keep on sucking. And the only people who suck right now are the people in charge. All right? And let's see if I can get our packages on time. I know I sent for a package. I hope it gets there. It should be. It's before August.